Hi, y'all. I am going to make an album cover this morning. I've got a special order for a mini album, so I'm going to get it started here. And I am using, as you can see, a Bisquick box. And this that I'm working with now to reinforce those folds is some gaffer's tape. And I discovered gaffer's tape because when my dad was here with me, the physical therapist said that it was a good thing to use on, we had one area rug in our house, and so it was a good thing to use on that rug. So I ordered some of it, and I put it down around that rug, and it worked really well. And they said that it was easy to remove because, it's what they use to hold down cords and things that they need to hold down on stages, and things like, so nobody will trip on them. And so when I no longer needed that rug to be taped down, I went to take it off, and let me tell you what, this stuff is sticky. So, yeah, I ended up ordering a new rug, but that's okay. But I did discover the gaffer's tape, and it's, I like using it better than I like using any other kind of tape because it's thin and it doesn't create all that bulk on the front of your album cover. And so you can even see that you can even see through it a little bit. It's thin, but it's very, very sticky and durable. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking double-sided tape, and I am putting it around the edge of my cover, and this is going to be the top of the mini album, the front, well, the top of that cover. And what you see underneath there is a piece of 11 by 17 cardstock, and that is a very heavy cardstock that I like to use for my album covers. And the 11 by 17 size was perfect for this Bisquick box. I think my album ends up being, my cover is like 9 by 6.5. My pages end up being 8. No, they're a little bigger than that, actually. I think it's like 10 by 6.5, because my pages, when I cut them, ended up being 9.5 by 6, I think. So what I'm doing now is I'm just continuing to cover the whole top of that box with that strong double-sided tape. So, but yeah, that cardstock just worked out perfectly for this box. Of course, I cut the edges off of the box to make it fit so that I'd have about a half an inch, maybe a little more than a half an inch all the way around to fold over to complete my the outside of the cover and give me a nice clean edge on the inside. So yeah, I'm just keeping on with the tape here. I have sped this video up a little bit because y'all know how slow I am at crafting. I didn't want you to be sitting here for an hour and a half watching me cover a box top. So, but, maybe some people haven't seen the process before and might be interested in how these things are done. So, yeah, interesting story. My husband had a car accident yesterday. Everybody's okay. It's all good. My truck's not. He was in my truck, which was actually my dad's truck. A lot of sentimental value attached to it, but anyway, yeah, he was sitting at a red light. The lady came over a hill and never checked up. Ran into the back of him, pushed him into the car in front of him, and pushed that car into the car in front of him. So, yeah. But everybody's okay. We spent the afternoon and evening in the emergency room yesterday, but all of his tests came back good. Of course, he's got aches and pains today for sure. So I got the tape put on there, and now what I'll do is I will get that tape I got my brayer out so I can get that tape really pressed down so it gets really good adhesion to that cardboard box. So I'm going to get it really pressed down so it'll stick well. Because we want everything to stick well. But anyway, yeah, everybody's fine that was involved as far as we know. I think, they all ended up in the same emergency room, so the lady that hit him had a real bad cut on her hand, I think, so I hope she's doing okay. She seemed to be handling it pretty well. She seemed to be doing okay. So we hope she's okay. And the little boy that was in front of him, his parents came and were with him in the emergency room. He was a young boy, probably 17 or 18, maybe. And so I felt really bad for him. But, as bad as I feel about my truck, I thought to myself this morning, God might have placed my husband there in that moment, because if that lady had hit that boy in that little car as hard as she hit my husband, because our truck's bent up, but if she had hit that car as hard as she hit the truck, that boy might have been really hurt badly. So, it could have been worse. So, everything it has a reason. I'm just using my pokey tool here to get the tape off of the tape backing off of the double-sided tape. And there's a lot of it. I know you're glad now that I sped the video up, because we know how slow I am. And this is a slow process anyway, trying to get that backing off of that sticky tape, and I can't do anything with my fingernails. But eventually I did get it up off of there, and if you're having trouble with your tape pulling up when you start to pull the backing, press your tape down harder. You saw me take the back of my tool and rub it on that tape. That helps press that tape down harder so that it'll stick to the box instead of trying to come up with the tape backing. Yeah, I told my husband it was sad. He had just been to the grocery store and had over $200 worth of meat and vegetables and all that good stuff in the truck. So, yeah, the ambulance, the guy came over from the ambulance. He said, "Buddy, you're going to have to go get you some more tea because your tea's all out in the road." Oh. So, but there was construction going on across the street, and one of the construction workers came running straight over to my husband because he could see that he had hit the steering wheel. And, but all the x-rays and everything came back okay, so we're good. He's just achy today. And he still has a headache, so they checked for concussion. And they said there weren't any signs of concussion, so that was good. But he did hit his head, so he's going to be, bumps and bruises. As long as it's nothing worse than that, we're good. But now here I'm taking my Fabri-Tac and I'm going all over that cover, especially between where the tape is. And here in a minute you'll see I just got tired of going up and down the lines, so I just covered the whole thing. Just went all the way around. Squiggled it. So now what I'm going to do is flip it over and get that cover adhered to that cardstock. And I'm trying to trying to get it centered on that cardstock so I have the same edge all the way around. And that, like I said, it's between 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch all the way around on that edge. And then I get my brayer back out and I'm going to press it down really good. Really get that glue spread out. And really get that cardstock adhered to that cover. Really getting it pressed in there. And that does two things. It flattens out that glue so that it doesn't leave any raised bubbles. And then it really makes it get adhered all the way, all over it, because it spreads the glue. So now, I'm going to brayer it a little bit more from the other side, just getting everything really pressed in, getting that glue and that tape really pressed into that box top. Really getting it worked in there, because we want that to stick really well, because we don't want any bubbles in our cover. We want to make sure there are no air bubbles, no glue bubbles. We want it all to be really flat. Now, excuse me. Excuse me, I took a drink of coffee and it caught in my throat. I'm looking for my little tool to do my corners with. And I'll put the link for this tool in the description box. This is the one that Jennifer from Genevieve Designs uses, and it's a really good one. And what it does is it gives you that 45-degree angle on your corners, and you really want that, and it gives you the correct spacing of your corners so you can get the corners folded in and get a really crisp corner on your cover, and that's what you want. And I believe the lady's name is Darlene, but I'll put the link in the description for that tool. And she made purple ones for Jennifer at Genevieve Designs. But I saw that hot pink one, and I had to have that hot pink one. Who knows, I may go back over there and order a purple one too. Now I'm just cutting the where I made the lines, which is basically mitering the corners. But like I said, that tool gives you the correct spacing for that corner, for that little edge. So that you have just that little bit of cardstock there to tuck around your corner. And it usually works out really well. Now what I did was I took my bone folder and I ran it along the edge of the cover so that I could get a really nice crease, and I really pressed it in hard, and then I'm using the bone folder just to fold up that lip there. And I'm going to do that the same thing on all four sides. Really pressing that, trying to get a good crease. Pressing that bone folder into that cardstock to try to get a really good crease. And then just coaxing it up there with the edge of the bone folder. And I'm going to continue on around. Y'all, my dog is so funny. He's sitting here in my lap while I'm doing this voiceover. And this dog loves to be petted. He just wants somebody touching him all the time. And I quit petting him, and he will reach down with his mouth and get my thumb behind his teeth, and he will pull my hand back up so that I'm rubbing his chest. It's the funniest thing. My husband said he's never seen a dog that wants to be petted and loved on as much as this dog does. But he does. And I'm just doing the same thing. Just made that crease in there. It's like scoring. When I press down with that bone folder, it's like scoring. And now I'm just coaxing the paper on around. And what I'm going to do here is I'm taking my 1/2 inch double-sided tape, and I'm just going to go all the way around that edge with that tape. And if my tape is just a little bit too wide, which it is here, I let it hang over on the inside so that it'll go up the edge of that cover. And then after a few minutes, you'll see me push that tape into the edge of that cover so that it'll adhere that paper even there on the very edge of the cover. Now just go all the way around the outside. Go all the way around the cardstock like this before I start folding it over. And I'm just, that little pink and green tool there is just a little straight edge tool. I think it came with that pink plastic bone folder. And it's just got a very thin edge on it, so it helps me tear that double-sided tape really well. And I'm sorry, I'm crafting in my lap. That the top edge of the cover is all the way up against a box at the top of my desk. So it I end up crafting in my lap, which you know I'm bad about doing that anyway. I like to craft close to me. I have to be real conscious of keeping my crafting inside the viewfinder of the camera. What I'm doing here is I'm cutting out where the creases in the box lie. I'm cutting out the V's there in the cardstock so that when I fold that cardstock up around that edge, it gives me it takes the bulk out so that I won't get bubbled creases in my cover. And now here's where I'm pressing. I'm taking that flat tool and I'm pressing that tape, the edges of that tape. I'm pressing it into the very edge of the box so that it sticks that cardstock to even the edge of the box. Really pressing that tape to that cardstock now. I'm just going around and pressing the tape down, really getting it to adhere well to that cardstock. And just go all the way around the edges. And then I'm going to cut out the little V's on the top side, or the other side. I guess it really doesn't matter which is top and which is bottom right now. Both the same. And probably what I should have done is use pointier scissors so I could get in closer to the actual edge of the cover. You'll see after a while I have to like trim away some of the, I call it the fuzzies, where it just didn't get quite up to the edge. But it all works out well. What I did there is I took my Fabri-Tac and I just ran a line of Fabri-Tac along the edge of the cover so that when I remove my tape backing, I can fold that up over and it'll get really good adhesion. Using my pokey tool again to try to get that tape backing off. Pressing it down. And I'm pulling on the side there, on the left side, you saw me pull that tape backing up off of the side piece there, and that's so that my corner, it's so that it's not in the way of my corner, so that I can really press my corner in. And that's what I'm going to do right there, really pressing that corner in, getting it folded over well. And I think you'll see me do the same thing over on this side. I'm going to fold that cardstock edge up and over. And just really getting that glue pressed in there. I'm just basically going to do the same thing all the way around. And this side, if you remember, I started out with a square edge on my tape, so you'll see me here all on the left side right there. I'm just folding that excess tape back onto itself so that it won't make a mess. And that's one thing I like about this double-sided tape. If you have a little bit hanging over an edge, you can just kind of roll it down the edge and it will just adhere to itself and not create a mess on your edge. Really pressing that corner in. And here, that tape backing was all the way up to the edge here, so I'm going to pull it back just a little bit. On the other two sides, it didn't quite go all the way to the edge, so there was enough, because that corner is just a tiny piece of a corner. There I am pushing that corner in again. Okay, I'm going to probably get back in my lap again here for a minute. Pulled the tape backing off, and now I'm just going to fold that edge up. Oh, got to put my glue on first. I'm working with that corner, getting that edge tucked in. And now I'm just going to go all the way around with my bone folder and really press that glue in. Make sure I've got everything pressed in. And here I noticed that those little, I call them the little fuzzies, where I pulled the V's out of to lessen the bulk. If I had used pointier scissors, it wouldn't have been like that. But I just cut off that little excess where it didn't go all the way up to the edge of the book cover. There, I'm really working on pressing that corner in. I'm going to do this other side. Get my glue on there and get my tape backing off and all that good stuff. Getting those corners really pushed in so that when I fold that edge up, it'll create a sharp corner instead of leaving paper poked out on the corner. Y'all know how that does that. Just by getting those really pressed in, it makes a clean corner. Getting that last bit, last edge folded up. working on that corner, getting it cleaned up. And I know I'm emphasizing the corners, but the corners are really important on a mini album like this. If you're not going to put book corners on it, you really want your corners to be clean. And I don't know what I'm going to do. This is for a child, so I probably won't put book corners on it because it's not going to be a vintage type album. It's going to be a, you know, a child's little scrapbook. So now I've got my big spatula out. I think it's We Are Memory Keepers. And I'm really pressing that glue and tape in to get it adhered to the inside of that album cover. I really want it, and I'm going to go around the edges to get that tape, where we put that tape on the edges. Get it really pressed in there. Really getting everything pressed in good. And then what we're going to do when we get everything completely pressed in good and I'm satisfied with all of that, I'm going to let this sit. And I let it sit for a couple hours to let that glue dry really well. And because I don't want to bend the cardstock until the glue is dry, because I want to prevent, I don't want to have bubbles in my cover. So I'll let that glue dry really, really well. So that's what we're going to do now. And I hope y'all have a wonderful day and stay blessed.